Alrighty, y'all, it's your boy Zxous, and today we're going to be doing a full breakdown, definitive guide for Cinderella. This was highly requested upon the last video. I guess a lot of you guys want me to do a lot more of these videos for a lot of the characters in the game, where I basically go in depth explaining what these characters do, their role in the game and on the team is, and then show you guys different team comps you can use with these characters, right? Just to kind of help you guys understand more of what the character is actually supposed to do, rather than just reading their kit and then not really explaining much behind it, right? So let's go ahead and do this for Cinderella. Obviously, she is an electric rocket launcher defender type. I would say Cinderella is still the strongest DPS in the game. It's between her, Scarlet Black Shadow. Well, I wouldn't say Scarlet Black Shadow. It's between her and Rappy for me, because Rappy does hit hard, but probably Cinderella. Like, she's still probably the hardest hitting character in the game. I would say Cinderella maybe. If we take a look at her kit, right, her whole thing is that she scales off of HP, realistically, right? Her attacks actually do scale off of final attack, but she gives herself an attack buff based on her max HP, right? So if you take a look at her first skill, it says activates when entering burst 3 stage 3. Burst 3 stage 3, burst stage 3, right? Which means anybody who's a burst 3 character, when you enter their burst skill, it doesn't have to be her alone, it could be anybody on the team who is a burst 3 character. The moment you use somebody's burst 3 burst skill, she herself, Cinderella herself, will give herself a 2.71% attack buff based on her final max HP, right? So let me pull up a calculator to help you guys understand this a lot more. All right, so I know you guys are going to be able to see a lot of this stuff. Hopefully you guys can see the screen here, right? But what that means is, if you guys take a look at my Cinderella, right? My Cinderella currently has 3.45968 million HP. So if I was to do that number, 658 million HP, and then I was to multiply that by 2.17 and then divide that by 100%, which is her basically her full HP, she would be giving herself a 93 attack buff, like a 93,000 attack buff, 93,756 attack buff, right? So you see where it says 162,000 attack. She would be adding 93,756,000 to that 85,000, right? And the thing is, it is a final HP. Let me go back here. Actually, it is a final max HP. So what that means is, if she was to get buffed, let's say if somebody was to give her like HP buffs, right, or if somebody was to increase her buffs in the game, right, during your battle, so like a Rouge or Master, whoever it is, whatever her final max HP is during the battle, that is the number that 2.71 is going to multiply by and then divide by 100, right? So if it's 4 million, she's gonna have probably 100,000 attack increase, right? If it's like 5 million, she's probably gonna have 125,000 extra attack increase to herself, which is very, very, very powerful, right? So if you guys don't really get the gist of it, you really do want this character to really be built based on HP, right? Which you cannot solely build Cinderella on HP. Like, there's no way to build her on HP realistically. So you're really kind of building a team that can support her with that HP buff, if that makes sense, right? And then when you look at her second part of first skill, it says activates when attacking with full charge effects of. She will increase the charge speed by 100%, and then this removes upon reloading to max ammo capacity, right? Which means she's going to be shooting a lot faster. Remember, she's a rocket launcher character, and rocket launcher characters typically take long to shoot, right? Because they have to charge up before they can shoot the rocket. When you notice the gameplay later on in this video, Cinderella is going to be shooting like an AR. She's going to be shooting her rockets like an AR because of that 100% charge speed increase, right? So just remember that. And then it says activates when hitting the target with a full charge affects the targets. She will deal 136.6% of final attack as additional damage, meaning every time she hits the target with full charge damage, she's doing an additional 136% of final attack as additional damage. What that means is she's doing 136.6% of final attack as additional damage towards her normal attack, right? So if you guys see here, her normal attack is going to be doing what, 32% of damage as a attack as damage. She's going to be adding 136.6% to that 32% every time she uses her normal attack. That is quite nasty, right? Meaning her first skill alone will put this character up there in DPS. Not her burst skill, not her second skill. Just that first skill alone will put her up there in DPS in the game, right? Now her second skill is more of a like defensive skill, right? At the start of the battle, effect self, she'll create a decoy with 96% of the caster's final max HP continuously. Basically what this means is that she's going to be kind of giving herself like a little shield. It doesn't work necessarily as a shield because it doesn't protect anybody on the team besides Cinderella herself, but basically the enemy would have to deal damage equal to 96% of Cinderella's HP to the decoy before they could actually hit Cinderella, right? But the cool thing is, again, anybody who uses their burst 3 burst skill, or any burst 3 character that uses their burst skill, will help Cinderella recreate the decoy if it's destroyed, right? So let's say the enemy ended up breaking the decoy the first time, right? But then you want to get the decoy back. If you use Cinderella's burst skill or another burst 3 character on the team's burst skill, she will recreate that decoy. And the great thing about this decoy is that it scales off of final max HP continuously. So again, what that means is whatever her final max HP is in the game, in the battle, depending if she's getting buffed with her HP or if it's just regular, like her regular HP, whatever the final number of her HP is within the battle is what the decoy is going to be coming back as. With 96% of that final HP number is going to be the decoy's health, basically. That's what that means. The decoy's health bar is going to be 96% of the caster's final max HP, right? And then it says if the decoy still exists or activates when the decoy still exists, affects self every 3 seconds, she will be giving herself a max HP buff of 1.6% continuously. That stacks up to 12 times. So having the decoy alive is very, very important for this character. Because this character literally is giving herself max HP, which again, if she gives herself 1.6% continuously, that stacks up to 12 times, that is going to, one, go into the final max HP of the decoy. Like that plays a big part into getting the final max HP increase of the decoy if the decoy comes back, and then that also goes into play of the attack buff she gives herself with the final max HP for 10 seconds. So her first and second skill gel very, very, very well together, right? I do think that is a great thing that they did add, rather than making it that she just has the decoy one time and then loses it, that she's able to get it back, and she's able to get it back by anybody using their burst skill as a burst 3, rather than it has to be her to use her burst skill and then she can get the decoy back. Anybody who's a burst 3 and uses their burst skill can get the decoy back for you, right? And then her burst skill, it just affects random enemies, but it deals what 1,309% of final attack as damage, stacks sequentially. I can't really say that word, my bad. For 10 times. But basically, what that means is that she will deal that number and then attack random enemies 10 times, right? So if there's one enemy, she's going to attack that one enemy 10 times and deal 1,309 to that one enemy 10 times, right? But if there's 10 different enemies and it's random, she might hit one of those 10 enemies like 3 times and then another random enemy like 4 times. It's random, right? But usually if you're fighting one enemy, that one solo enemy is getting hit 10 times and she's dealing 1,309% of final attack as damage 10 times to one enemy. Usually if you're fighting a boss, you'll notice that. But if it is like, if there's mobs, if there's a lot of different enemies, it is going to be random. And that's the only thing I could say is a con. You can't necessarily control who she's attacking, right? But other than that, it's a very, very good burst skill, right? And then if you guys take a look at the second part of the burst skill, affects the same target when in a beautiful state or status, which the beautiful status is what? When in the beautiful status, Oh, right here, her max HP. I was like, what? But yeah, basically when she is in the beautiful status, which means when she has her max HP increase, she will deal 27.69% of final max HP as additional damage, and then mirrors the stack counts of beautiful damage. So what that means is, let's say her stack is at 10 for the beautiful, right? You see how it says it stacks up to 12. If that's at 10, she will deal 27.69% of final attack as damage, but then multiply that 27.69% by 10 times because the stack is at 10. So whatever the stack number is for the beautiful, multiply that number by 27, and that's how much damage she's going to be doing as additional damage to those same targets. So you guys can kind of see why against just a single boss, this character is going to be very nasty, because if she's attacking one solo enemy and dealing 1,309% of final attack as damage, and then multiplying that by 10 already, and then dealing 27% of final attack as additional damage, and then multiplying that again by her stacks, she's going to hit very, 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 very hard. So obviously, if you're wondering, Zxous, what skill should I prioritize? I would say prioritize skill 1, obviously, and skill 2, and then skill 3, or her burst skill. So skill 1, skill 2, then her burst skill, or you can prioritize skill 2 the most, since I do feel like that is a very, very helpful skill for herself, like the max HP and the decoy. It really does matter for her. And then skill 1, and then her burst skill, right? As for the cube, you can give her the resilience cube, obviously, because, you know, this character is going to be reloading quite a bit. She is a rocket launcher, so she is going to reload quite a bit. You can also give her the Bastion cube, Bastion cube, whatever it's called. This is also another good cube for her, because like I said at the beginning of the video, this character is a rocket launcher that shoots like an AR. So after a certain amount of bullets, she is going to get it back, which is going to be helpful for her, rather than her using all her bullets and having to reload. She can get some bullets back and then reload. And then realistically, that's all I would say. Or I mean, maybe if you want, you could do the charge speed cube, the Junting cube, the charge speed one. I wouldn't really, but if you want, you could do that. But I would recommend probably resilience is like what you want to go for realistically. And then when it comes to our overload gear, elemental damage, you 100% want elemental damage. You probably want attack percent as well, just because this character is going to be a rapid DPS. And then for that last one, you could give her ammo capacity if you necessarily want to, just because again, she is going to be shooting like an AR, or you can give her charge speed. So I would say prioritize elemental damage and attack percent, and then that last roll could be either elemental damage or charge speed, to kind of help this or even charge damage, right? Because remember, this character is still a rocket launcher at the end of the day, so charge damage does matter for this character, which means she's just going to be doing more damage because she's, you know, charging her shots, right? So charge damage could also work for this character, but elemental damage and attack percent is what you want the most. Now when we look at her teams, right, we have different teams for her. I've already pre-built them. Obviously the team that I love, the monstrous trio team, which is literally Little Mermaid, Crown, and Helm, and then your 2 DPSs. In this case, we have Summer Anise with Cinderella, just because Summer Anise is a great electric character support, right? This is like probably the best support for electric characters, because she gives a major attack buff when you enter a full burst, and then a major reload speed buff. Not to mention, with somebody like Crown on the team, Crown always gives everybody a crazy reload speed buff, regardless if they're using their burst skill or not. And then also I think Little Mermaid does as well. No, I don't think she gives a reload speed buff, does she? No, she gives an attack damage buff, but she does reload the mag. That's what it is. She reloads the mag, not a reload speed buff. So those two already are quite crazy. Plus Summer Anise with Cinderella is going to be crazy. So let me show you guys this team, and then I'll show you guys the other teams. All right, so here we are in our campaign. We are low by just 20,000, not that crazy of a deficit, but I really do want to get farther in hard campaign so I can do these videos with a harder deficit, because with 20,000 K power under, like, it's not really like, oh my god, you're in any danger, right? I feel like when you're at least 30% in, like, low in the deficit, then you're gonna be in danger. But other than that, let's see. But once Cinderella uses her burst skill, it's kind of really just up. Look, she's just gonna delete every character on the screen. Everybody on the screen is just dead. You know what I mean? And that's just how broken she is. Like, besides, everybody is realistically just dead. And if you guys take a look at her normal attacks, you see her normal attacks also have homing abilities, right? So her homing attack, her normal attacks is just gonna aim towards an enemy. right? They're just going to aim towards the enemy, and that's something they don't even tell you in her skills. But if you look at her normal attacks, you guys can see her bullets are just kind of directing itself to the enemy. In this case, it's the boss because that's who she's targeting, right? But Cinderella is quite the powerful character. Like, you want to have Cinderella if you do not have a crazy DPS. This is the DPS you want to have. She will always perform, right? So this is one of the teams you can use with her. You're probably never going to find any issues with this team, but let's go to the next team. Now, with this team right here, it's very helpful for her. I would say Cinderella's best partner is this character right here, Rouge, because Rouge gives herself, not herself, but she gives everybody on the team a crazy max HP buff when you use her burst skill a certain amount of times from her second skill, right? Like, you have to use her burst skill like 5 times to get all these effects, but then when you do get these effects throughout her second skill, she will give everybody on the team these massive HP buffs, like 7%, 15%, 23%, and this all stacks, right? Not to mention she's giving a 3% HP buff when attacking with a full charge 8 times to all allies, right? She's very good for Cinderella, right? Very good for Cinderella. And the Maiden on this team is very good as well, because Maiden actually gives strong damage as element towards electro code allies, right? She will give damage a strong element increased by 31% when she basically replenishes her MP. You got to get into her kit to understand it, which I can do for you guys, but you really do want to use Cinderella with Rouge basically all the time, right? This is like the best combo right here. But this is the team where we have Rouge, Maiden's our second DPS, and our support, Crown and Naga on the team. Naga's here to support Crown and I guess help out the other characters, but really help Crown because Crown's second skill will give us the attack damage buff. So there's that. But let's go ahead and use this. We are 80,000 power low, which is, you know, fine. I do want to I only go into hard campaign and show these teams because I don't want to just show you guys teams and then like you guys use it and you guys end up dying, right? That's why I kind of do these, to show you guys if, you know, these teams are viable for these types of contents or not. It really shouldn't be a problem. I will go to Rouge just so I can get my burst generation faster, but once you get that burst skill going, it's over, right? If we actually go to Cinderella real quick, you guys can see now that we enter full burst, Cinderella has her max HP increase. You know, this is already stacked up to 2 times. She has the 7% from Rouge already, and then I don't know if she has the 3% because Rouge didn't use her full charge 8 times, but Cinderella really does pop off with Rouge, and you guys will learn that in longer fights, right? I could go into the shooting range and stuff and show you guys that as well, but I'm not going to. But yeah, this character really does pop off, right? And now because Maiden, you know, is going to have her MP replenished after this, we should get a damage of strong element buff after this, because she's going to have a replenish, meaning that she lost it, right? Do we have that now? I don't remember. I do want to see real quick before we continue. I just want to see. I guess not. I guess it's when she gets it back, I guess. But yeah, you guys can see we haven't even fought the boss yet, right? And by the time the boss gets here, we're going to have our burst skill. Boom, there's the boss, and now we're, you know, stacked up more with Rouge, and Cinderella is just gonna kind of nuke the boss. Right there, I guess no, the boss wasn't one of the 10 enemies, and that's one of the things you guys gotta realize right there. That was a good example. The boss was not one of the random 10 enemies, right? So against mobs, it's more niche because it's like we would have been done right there had she attacked the boss. Had the boss been one of those random 10 enemies she was dealing with, we would have been done the game right there. But because there was more than 10 enemies, the boss just unfortunately was not one of the random 10 enemies, right? So these are the little things you gotta, you know, remember when using Cinderella and using her in these like contents and stuff like that, that she is not guaranteed to attack whoever you want her to attack. But now she's gonna just kill the boss, obviously, because, you know, but that is one thing you got to remember when using Cinderella. The 10 enemies are random. You have no control on who she's attacking with that random thing, right? So you make sure you're usually using her against characters that, or against stages that have less than 10 enemies, which, you know, usually you can't control. But yeah, that, I guess I'm glad we got that in this video. Now with this team comp right here, I don't think this team comp is really going to do us that much, like that good in campaign. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but this team does work as well. Trina helps out Scarlet big time, right? Trina's whole kit is really dedicated to Scarlet, but the one thing that Trina has that helps Cinderella out big time is that on her burst skill, she will give an like additional damage number basically. So burst skill damage to, you know, people who attack more than one enemies, or people who attack a lot of enemies. So as you guys hear, activates on the enemy court side from the Nikke is more than 2, right? Or enemy count aside from the Nikke is more than 2, affects all allies. She will be giving their burst skill damage 49% more. I think we'll have to see in the game. I think she's actually going to give Cinderella 300%. I'm not 100% sure. We have to use her burst skill to see what Cinderella gets, because I haven't really dabbled too much. I just got Trina recently, so I haven't dabbled too much in Trina and Cinderella, but I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in a second, right? Let's use Rouge here so we can get our burst skill. Scarlet is going to nuke everybody here, right? But now Trina used her burst skill. I do want to see something real quick before we use anything. What does Cinderella get here? Yeah, so Trina gives Cinderella 49% increase to her burst skill basically, right? Which is good because she's attacking 10 different enemies. So that's just a major buff that Trina is giving to Cinderella with her burst skill damage, right? This is where Scarlet's just going to kind of delete everybody because Trina and Scarlet is just not fair realistically. But yeah, Trina is a very good partner for, you know, Cinderella as well. Not as good as she is with Scarlet, but her burst skill does help out Cinderella big time, right? Because right now she's buffing up Cinderella. Cinderella is about to do a lot of damage here, like a lot of damage here. Right, and there's the boss right there. I don't know if we're gonna survive this actually. I think we are. The boss is dead actually, which I'm surprised. That was quite the deficit too, right? We died there obviously because I let the enemy hit Anise there. Anise is obviously on the team to buff up the team as I explained earlier, but yeah, that was quite the deficit and we still won, right? And if I show you guys the damage, if I can show you guys the damage, you guys could see Cinderella popped off, and so did Scarlet, but Cinderella popped off obviously. Now for the last team, we're going up against the mirror container. This is the anomaly interception where electric code allies are on type advantage against, you know, the enemy. With this team right here, we're really using Ein and Cinderella to do all our damage. And then, like I said at the beginning of the video, or I guess middle of the video, Anise is like a great support for any electric DPS in the game. Ein is a very powerful DPS for electric code characters that you can get from any time in the game realistically, and then Cinderella as well. We're always going to have Crown with us because Crown is just that good as a burst too, where you're going to probably notice her on any and every single team on every video. Like she's too good. And I'll probably do one of these videos for Crown as well, just to show you guys how nasty she is, especially with the R characters, trust and believe. But yeah, mirror container is not something that I do dabble into much, so do bear with me please. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys and make it seem like I'm this godlike player or something. I do not dabble much in mirror container just because I don't find the need to. So you guys might see me doing something incorrect, but this team will be able to just get me a huge chunk of damage just ready and gone, right? It will just help me get a huge chunk of damage ready and gone, right? Besides my Cinderella, none of my characters are built though, so you're probably not going to notice anything realistically besides like from the Kraken. The Kraken is the only stage you're going to see me get far in because all my characters for the Kraken are built. Nobody for these other anomaly interceptions are built for these interceptions, respectfully. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. We don't have a healer with this team, which, you know, I don't really like usually. But then it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. We don't have a healer. It is what it is. Okay, here, let's go ahead and use you. Oh, I guess I should have stopped there. Oh my god, let's redo that. My bad. If I don't beat it, it is what it is. But I remember that though. That's the one thing I do remember. I have to come off of the characters because everybody starts shooting with mirror container, and it is very, very annoying when everybody's shooting against the mirror container and I have to get rid of those interruption parts, right? It is quite annoying, I will say. So we'll see what happens right here realistically. But yeah, this team, it does really help in mirror container. I would say if you do have this team built and you do understand mirror container, which, you know, once I fully build up these teams, I'll do more of a guide for this, right? I think I've done a guide so far for only Ultra and Kraken, right? Because those are the two I dabble in. But mirror container, once I do have my team ready for this and I do dabble more into this, you guys will see a video from me of how to beat mirror container and the teams you can use and stuff like that. Right, and the same thing, I think I also did one for Indivilly actually. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I did one for Indivilly as well. I'm not sure. I have a few of these videos though. Alright, so here, let me come off of these two. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what you want to do, right? You want to make sure you're cooking up. Make sure you don't have that on auto and go ahead and just handle it yourself, because the other people on the team is going to mess it up for you, right? But here we go. So yeah, and after that part, you could probably get far in stage. I'm sorry, but Cinderella is too powerful as a DPS, and so is Ein. Like, I haven't done a video on Ein yet, but Ein is quite the powerful DPS as well. She's probably like one of the best that you could have, realistically, for your electric DPSs. Or you can use that, Scarlet and Trina comp that I did show you guys before. Right, that could also work, but we'll see what happens here, right? Anise, don't die on me, please. Oh, here we go. Max HP increase. Shield is up. And there you go. Look at Ein. Ein is gonna just get a few HP off of this enemy. There we go. Stage 5 mirror container. Great. But yeah, let me show you guys the damage as well. You guys can see Cinderella blitzes, but look at Ein. Ein is really there up there as well, right? So yeah, this is just a little sauce for this team. If you're not understand, I mean, I think you guys kind of get what's going on with this team. I've explained Summer Niece on all the teams we showcased. I explained Rouge and her role with Cinderella. Ein is just like another broken DPS for electric. That's why she's there. And then Crown, you guys know about Crown. Trust me. If you don't know about Crown, then you don't know what you're doing. But you know about Crown. Trust me. But yeah, this is realistically, I would say, like, I'm not covering or anything like this. This is on auto, right? Realistically, my characters on my team should not have this low HP. I should be covering and stuff like that with them when I'm being attacked, so that my cover gets hurt, not my HP. But I'm just showing you guys like damage. I'm not expecting to clear or anything like that. I'm just showing you guys damage and stuff like that, right? But yeah, the cover, you see that blue part above their HP, that is what you're trying to have them, or mirror container attack, not you, because you don't have a healer on this team. So you're not supposed to be taking damage like that to the head. You're just not supposed to be taking damage like that to the head. It's silly, right? But I'm not doing a guide on mirror container. I'm just showing you guys the damage. 1 billion on mirror container. It's quite crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, right? It's quite crazy. It's quite crazy, Cinderella. 1 billion yourself is quite crazy. But yeah, I hope that, that helped you guys out realistically with these Cinderella comps. I do like showing different team comps and stuff like that. Cinderella usually 9 times out of 10 is going to be with a full electric team. That's the one thing I can say, unless you do just put her on any other team as your main DPS. But 9 times out of 10, she's probably just going to be with the electric characters, because for some reason only the electric characters in this game support other electric characters. Like, that's realistically what it is. The electric characters only help out electric characters, which is so sad, but it's true. But there are different team comps you can use for Cinderella, but hopefully I helped you guys understand what this character is about a lot more and stuff like that. Maybe you guys can take a look and see who you have on your account that could work with Cinderella. But like I said at the beginning of the video, anybody who is giving a HP buff that does go to Cinderella guaranteed is going to be very useful. I do just want to note before I end off the video, because I don't think I explained it, if you are using Rouge, right, I didn't use this team, but if you guys are using Rouge, right, Rouge has to be in either this slot, the 4th slot on the team, or the 2nd slot in the team, right? And Cinderella has to basically be beside her. So if you're going to use Rouge, have her in the 2nd slot of the team or the 4th slot of the team, and make sure Cinderella is always beside Rouge, either if it's here or if it's here, or if it's here, if you have her here, right? Make sure Cinderella is right beside Rouge, because Rouge only affects the 2 allies who are standing right beside her and only work in the 2nd and 4th slot. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know what you guys learned about Cinderella, if this video was helpful, and let me know who you guys want me to do next. Your boy Zxous, I'm out. Peace.